Today is a bit of an experiment in Multichrome Chameleon liquid lipstick using this beautiful Multichrome powder. Pause to read, you'll find the formula and a downloadable PDF on my Patreon. There's a couple of ways you can do this. We're going to work on phase A. This is a 50-gram batch and we are doing our silicone phase. And what we need to do is dissolve the silicone resin in an appropriate solvent. Now, I'd usually do this in isododecane, but I didn't have any in stock. So what I've done is used the next best thing I had, which I thought would be nice in this formula, and that is C12 to 15 alkyl benzoate, which helps to dissolve the silicone resin. It contributes to an even finish and a beautiful skin feel. And then we're adding dimethicone, which is a silicone that film forms, locks in moisture and adds slip and glide, as well as being a compatible solvent to dissolve the silicone resin. Then we add the silicone resin, which is a film former, hardener, thickener, texturizer, and it adds to the non-transfer nature of the lipstick. Now, a better way to do this is to heat up your solvents to 70 degrees and then sprinkle this in and dissolve it gradually rather than adding it all here, because if you're not using isododecane, it will take forever to dissolve. And I mean forever, and you need to be agitating it the whole time, but I'll get onto that in a minute. We'll get our oil phase ready now, and for this we're using Eco Silk, which is an eco-friendly silicone alternative. That fact's a bit redundant in this formula since it's a silicone-based formulation, but I'm using it here for its slip and glide because it significantly improves the feel of the final product. Then I'm adding fractionated coconut oil, which is a lightweight moisturising oil to hydrate, smooth and soften the lips. And then after that we want to add some wax, and for the wax we're going to use candelilla wax, and we're using this as a hardener, a thickener, texturizer, film former, and it's also quite moisturising, so that's why we're adding it here in this phase. We're adding it all in this phase because it's a bit harder to dissolve the silicone resin if you add all of this in phase A, so we're doing it as a separate phase. Lastly, after you've added the wax, we are using polymethyl silsesquizosane, I can't pronounce it. It's a film former. It aids in the transfer proof nature of the lipstick and it helps to make it water resistant, which is why we add it here, and it dissolves really readily in this phase. So once you've got those two phases ready, we're going to start heating the silicone resin phase first because it will take a long time to heat through and to dissolve. To do this, we're doing it in a bain-marie, which is 1 to 2 inches of water in a pan, and then just put the beaker in and keep that at a constant temperature. And you do want to be stirring this and breaking the resin apart as you do it. But like I said, if you heat this up first and then sprinkle the resin in, dissolving a little bit at a time, you will find this easier. Otherwise, it can take upwards of half an hour to an hour to dissolve. If you're using isododecane, it usually takes about 20 minutes. Once that's dissolved, then you can start with melting down your oil and wax, and that literally takes a matter of minutes, if that. Once that's melted, you can move on, but we're going to get our final phases ready in the meantime. And for this we are using cyclomethicone, which is a lightweight volatile emollient that adds a luxurious feel to skincare and lip products. It enhances the feel and the finish. You should be adding it to the cool down phase though, because it is flammable and it will set alight if it's heated to 70 or above, which is why it's not in the heated phase. Then we're using seaweed extract. It's extremely good for the lips. This extract is an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and it soothes and nourishes, helping your lips to feel plump and smooth. Then just for fun, I'm adding a flavour oil. A flavour oil is simply a lip-safe fragrance oil. So it won't taste of anything unless it already contains a sweetener or you add one. We're really using it just for scent. And then I'm adding some vitamin E, which is an antioxidant, and it also helps to heal dry lips. So I've added all of that in there, and I'm just going to stir that round, make sure it's all incorporated, and that's ready to add when our mixture gets to the right temperature. And the star ingredient, as I got ready earlier, is our pigment. Multichrome pigment is not cheap and you do need a fair bit of it for this lipstick, so it's not a cheap product to make, but it is good fun, and one 50-gram batch does go a long way. So you've got your silicone dissolved and your wax all melted. You can add your silicone to your wax and stir that around to fully combine it together. Make sure you get everything out of the beaker. I'm pouring the silicone into the wax because it's less likely to set on the side of the beaker as it's poured. Once that's incorporated, you can add your pigment and then just stir that around until it's fully incorporated, and you can see the colour change a little bit here. There are many suppliers of Multichrome and Chameleon pigments online, but you must make sure that you have a lip-safe version. So make sure you check with the manufacturer and the MSDS that it is safe for use on the lips before you start adding it into lipstick. We're now going to check the temperature. We want it to be below the flash point for the cyclomethicone, and we also want it to be acceptable for our other cool down ingredients, which it is. And so we're pouring those in and just going to mix them in really thoroughly. If you do have an overhead stirrer, I recommend you use that because you're always going to get a better result than using a spatula. Once that's combined, let it heat to 50 or below, and cool, and then you can put it into your tubes of choice. I'm running seriously low of these now, and I've only got one stopper, so I'm going to do one without a stopper and one with. I just use a little syringe to take the lipstick up while it's still liquid. Don't fill above 50 degrees because you could have issues with it, so make sure it's always below 50 degrees before you fill your tubes, and then just take it up in the syringe, and then it's very, very easy to fill. Since this is an anhydrous product, it doesn't require a preservative, but if you intend to gift or sell a lipstick, then I'd always add one because you don't know how the recipient is going to store it. I'd recommend phenoxyethanol, ethyl hexyl glycerin if you're going to add one, and you can add that at 1% and just deduct from the other oil ingredients. You'll see it's still reasonably liquid at the moment, but it will firm up overnight as it's in the tube and then have a better consistency for applying once it's been sat for a while. So let's test it out, and I'm going to do my best to show the colour shift, although I don't have professional lighting here, so this is the best I can do, but it should give you an indication of what this looks like. And yes, I did apply it to my own lips and try and take some photos. They're not brilliant, but that's what I came up with. That's the best I can do in the lighting I had. But here is a professional photo of the same pigment used as a lipstick done by Ellie Horner for Cosmetics by Lisa, who were very, very kind enough to lend me that photo to give you a good example. So I hope you like this video. I hope you give it a try. If you want the PDF download and the full recipe with all of the information, then that is on my Patreon link below. Thank you to everyone that's watched this video. Thank you to all my patrons. VIP patrons are listed here for the month, and I'll see you in the next one.